welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today, we'll learn about the history of the South Shore Children's Chorus entering its 10th season this year. We'll also preview an upcoming concert. First, though, we check out the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, 41 degrees under sunny skies. Today will turn out partly cloudy and mild with highs in the mid-40s this afternoon. So we're going to do some melting. And really the big story of the week is the nighttime lows. We should not go below freezing all week. Lows tonight only in the upper 30s. Tomorrow a lot of clouds around, but even milder with highs tomorrow approaching the lower 50s. Looks pretty nice here on Wednesday as well with sunshine at a high around 50 degrees. Chance for some spring-like showers on Thursday with Thursday's highs again in the low 50s, and look at those overnight lows staying above freezing right through Friday. So we'll do a little melting this week for sure. 41 in Quincy right now. Checking out the news for you today, the Quincy City Council gets back to work tonight after an almost month-long break. The last council meeting was held on January 21st. The February 3rd meeting was canceled after Council President Ian Kane said there were no items on the agenda. During that time, the issue of the proposed statues for the new police station has raised questions. Mayor Thomas Koch said that he commissioned a sculptor to create 10-foot-tall bronze statues of St. Michael and St. Florian to adorn the front of the new police station at a cost of $850,000. Councilor Kane has said he understands the concerns about the cost and also the issue of the separation of church and state. He said he would be discussing that issue with his colleagues about possibly making some changes. A citizen petition drive has collected over 1,000 signatures of people who oppose the statues for the new station. The mayor said the statues are the patron saints of police officers and firefighters and will be beautiful public art. The Wollaston Lutheran Church on Hancock Street in Quincy has submitted a new plan to demolish the existing church and parsonage and build a new church. The Quincy Planning Board held a public hearing last week about the new proposal, which is 10,000 square feet smaller than a proposal that was withdrawn last year due to concerns about its size and the impacts on traffic. Attorney Ed Fleming, representing the church, says the current 1934 building is inadequate for the community.
Services an elderly community primarily, and it has no handicap accessibility whatsoever. In fact, the church itself is on the second floor. So a lot of the people that visit the facility need assistance getting down or up the stairs in the facility. There's no elevator in the building that allows them easy access to these services. And the basement of the facility is really not suited for these community services. It's really small. What happens is during these community services, the church needs to set up the chairs and the tables and then take them down when there's different activities during the day. So it's just not well suited to service the community.
Now, this new plan includes a new church with a social center, a school, plus 3 one-bedroom apartments for church personnel. There would also be passive outdoor recreation space. Parking for 6 vehicles would be included. Fleming says the church has agreements for more parking at the adjacent DeWare Funeral Home, Fenno House, and the shopping plaza across the street. The public hearing was continued until April 16th. The New England Aquarium's Sea Turtle Hospital at the Quincy Shipyard has treated a record number of cold-stunned turtles this season. Since November, the hospital has treated over 500 turtles that have been rescued from Cape Cod beaches after becoming stunned by the cooling waters of Cape Cod Bay. Each season, volunteers with the Wellfleet Bay Wildlife Sanctuary rescue these endangered Kemp's Ridley, green, and loggerhead sea turtles and bring them to the Quincy Hospital for treatment of hypothermia, infection, and malnutrition. 71 turtles are still in critical condition there. The others have been transported to warmer southern waters. Well, the new Quincy College Foundation has received a major gift The Quincy law firm of Baker, Braverman, and Barbadoro donated $10,000 to the foundation to help support additional scholarships for students. Paul Barbadoro is a Quincy native and a Quincy College alumnus who later returned to campus as an adjunct faculty member. He recently concluded a 6-year term as chair of the college's Board of Governors. He was appointed late last year as chair of this newly established foundation's Board of Trustees. Quincy College President Rick DeCristofaro said that Barbadoro's gift reflects a belief in the institution, students, and value of life-changing impact of a college education. House Speaker Rahm Mariano of Quincy recently accepting the Republic of South Korea Veterans Ambassador for Peace Medal on behalf of his late uncle, Private John Mariano, who was killed in action during the Korean War. Mariano was joined by his brother John, Secretary of Veterans Services John Santiago, and the Consul General of the Republic of Korea in Boston recently. Mariano's uncle joined the Army when he was 16 years old. He was a member of the 38th Infantry Regiment, 2nd Infantry Division, and killed in action in 1952 at the age of 20 during a battle of Old Baldy. Speaker Mariano called it an honor to accept the medal on his uncle's behalf. Recently, the city did dedicate the field at the Point Webster Middle School as the Private John Mariano Field in his honor. And as a look at news for you today, coming up, the South Shore Children's Chorus is preparing for a major evening of giving event. We'll learn more about that next. Welcome back. As I mentioned, the South Shore Children's Chorus is entering its 10th season this year. So we thought it's about time that we had the founder and the director, Kirsten Oberoi, here in the studio to tell us how it all got started, where it's going from here. So Kirsten, welcome.
Thank you so much, Joe. I'm happy to be here and happy to chat about SSCC.
I can't believe we have never had you in before. 10 years now. You're a Quincy native.
Yes, I grew up right in Wollaston.
Yeah.
I worked at the Clam Box for 11 years. I'm a 2009 NQHS grad, and so when I decided I wanted to start my own music organization, I thought no better place than the place I grew up.
Yeah. So were you involved musically in high school?
Yes. I was in the choirs. I was involved with musical theater with Peggy Spencer, and so I did a lot of, I was in the band at North Quincy High and at Central Middle, the old Central, not the new Central. But I was always involved in music. My parents were musicians, and I always wanted to get involved deeper on a community level. But those opportunities really only existed in Boston, in the city of Boston. And who's driving their kid for a 5:45 p.m. rehearsal in the city of Boston? Very few people. So, yeah, I thought, I think it's about time for a South Shore Children's Chorus, and we're headquartered out of Quincy Point Congregational Church on Washington Street.
So did you continue your education after high school in the musical fields?
I did. You did. I have a music major from Point Loma Nazarene University in San Diego, California.
Oh, okay.
Much warmer.
Yes.
The much warmer option, but then came back here about 2 years after college.
Really? Okay. And that's when you founded the chorus?
That's when I founded the chorus. I got another job in the city with one of the children's choruses there, and I just kind of thought, I really have a strong philosophy. I have a strong idea of what I want to do, and I would prefer to do it in my own community, the community I know and love. And so I had that position for a little while, and then actually went back and worked at the Clam Box while I got this off the ground, and then got a teaching job. I taught in Foxborough for 5 years at the middle school level. I taught their choruses and a few general music classes, and then post-pandemic decided to take the leap to do my organization full-time. And now it's been my full-time gig for 3 years.
Wow. So what is the South Shore Children's Chorus,
Kirsten?
Kirsten?
The South Shore Children's Chorus.
These really, targeted questions here. But for folks who don't know.
For folks who don't know, the South Shore Children's Chorus is a kindergarten through 12th grade ensemble classes. We have 4 locations all throughout the South Shore. So we have classes in Quincy at 2 locations, Quincy Point Congregational Church and the Woodward School. Sharon, Hanover, and Bridgewater. And we have a partnership with Bridgewater State University and their music program, where their pre-service teachers actually get to work with our students and in our classrooms to gain experience and whatnot. And so these classes teach children singing, and more than that, they teach children community engagement skills. They teach them social skills. We teach them expression skills and how to be who they are. And that's just such an important thing when you have the ability to accept your own voice. You have the ability to start to gain confidence in yourself.
Interesting.
And even just the sound of your own voice is so important for you to love when you're learning on a journey to love yourself. So we have classes for kindergarten through 12th grade. We serve 225 singers from 36 different communities on the South Shore.
Okay.
So it's quite a lot of students that we have now, and it's just a beautiful coming together of music and community here on the South Shore.
Yeah. So do you have any business background, Kirsten, or strictly music? No, because you've got a business running here, essentially.
I do. No, the music is what I've always known. The business is what I've been learning.
Okay.
And boy, has that been a learning experience over the past 10 years.
Right.
Things I never thought I would do, like build a website.
Right.
Or learn how to read IRS forms for a nonprofit organization and different things like that. And I've had to learn so many skills and so many different small things, social media marketing, and taking interviews and talking to people and public speaking and all of that. And it's really been kind of the fun part of it, because I've always been the music kid.
Yeah.
At North, I was the music kid.
Is that right?
I was.
Is that what they called you?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But in doing that, kind of the way I've found myself in the past 10 years is I'm also the nonprofit leader.
Right.
And that's been so joyous to try and figure out the puzzle of how to get this thing off the ground and how to get people to know about the South Shore Children's Chorus and to sign their students up for the South Shore Children's Chorus and whatnot.
Tell me a little bit about the government structure then, if you can, about
Sure.
the chorus.
We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we are registered and whatnot, and so we are governed by a volunteer board of directors. This board of directors is a mix of people from the local community, parents, grandparents, people who sang with my adult choir, who grew up in the area, and people who really love the arts on the South Shore. And they understand why this organization is imperative to the growth of the arts on the South Shore, and why it's actually necessary. We need it here. And so we come together once a month on Zoom, and these amazing board members help with the financial governance of the organization. They help with human resources. They help with governance, all of that, and they help really help me lead the organization and get it well known in the community. And their recent project actually has been putting on our first ever fundraising event, which is our Evening of Impact.
Yes.
It's going to be at the Woodward School on March 14th. And we're going to have food and music and live performances from the kids and drinks and just a wonderful evening to celebrate kicking off our 10 years and also to celebrate the fact that this organization is not just here in the South Shore, it's not just a children's chorus, but also that this specific children's chorus is gaining national recognition.
Really?
About our method, our philosophy, our people-first approach, how we work with students, and has been nominated for multiple national awards and whatnot, and it's right here in Quincy. And so we're going to celebrate that the South Shore Children's Chorus way, which is just with fun, with music, with smiles, with laughter, with community.
Who can become a member of the South Shore Children's Chorus, and how does that happen?
Anyone. So two pillars of our organization that are imperative to what we do. It's really a strong part of our mission. Number one, all of our programs are audition free.
Okay.
So
just show up.
Just show up.
Okay.
Sign up, show up.
Okay.
Your job as a kindergarten through 12th grade singer is to want to learn to sing.
Okay.
Our job is to teach you that skill.
Wow.
I think society has taught us in a way through televised talent shows and whatnot that singing is a talent that is only reserved for the few that magically can do it. And at South Shore Children's Chorus, we don't believe that.
Really?
We believe that if you have been told that you can't sing, that's a lie.
Wow.
That you can sing with the right work and effort and a good teacher who
Okay.
understands that singing is a skill, just like anything else.
Interesting.
Just like you go to a math class and you learn how to add,
Yeah.
just like you can learn to kick a soccer ball, you can also learn to sing the right notes and to sing them beautifully with a teacher who believes in you and a teacher who believes it's a skill.
So is that where you were talking about getting the national recognition, that method?
A little bit of that,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And also, how we do what we do is really important. We sort of break barriers in the way of relevancy. And the children's chorus, when you think about the history of choirs and children's choirs in America, you're thinking hands by your side in very tight
Sure.
uniforms,
Yeah.
performing with,
Or church, right?
or church.
Yeah.
And we're sort of bringing chorus to the people.
Okay.
And the first and most important thing in any of our performances is seeing our children shine and seeing their joyful faces and seeing them express themselves and express the music. You won't come to a South Shore Children's Chorus and see still children with no facial expression.
Really?
That's not what we're about, because we believe that there's more power than that. There's a power of connection. There's a power of community. So that's
it's more of a holistic approach.
it's an
sounds like.
extremely holistic approach,
Yeah.
yes. And that's imperative to what we do. And actually, we would go so far as to say, I would go so far as to say, and so would my staff, that music without that approach, what is it for? What is it
Okay.
for?
So you're seeing music as more than just a performance, more than just entertainment.
It's a vessel to change lives.
Wow.
It's a vessel to change
Do you have
lives.
examples of that, Kirsten?
Oh,
Really?
beyond examples.
Yeah. It's
we
obviously it's
have-
done it for you.
Yeah, it's done it for me. It's done it for my staff.
Yeah.
We have one of our favorite stories is actually about a dear friend of ours who's been in the organization for many years, and he was a really tiny kid back in the early days. We actually served pre-K students.
Oh, wow, okay.
And so he joined us as a pre-K student,
Yeah.
and he sang in our classes. He sang in our classes for basically a year and a half. And he came to class, and he came to class, and he came to class, and he never opened his mouth. Not one time.
Really?
He didn't sing a note for a
Okay.
year and a half.
All right.
And then, but his mom kept saying he goes home and he sings the songs.
Oh, interesting.
He goes home and he sings the songs. And so, at that point you have two choices. Which is more important? The fact that he's there and he keeps coming and we can be patient about who he is and his timeline, or we can say, well, we have a concert coming up.
Right.
So what? Who cares? It's a chorus concert.
Okay.
Who's more important, the chorus concert or the child?
Oh,
And so a year and a half later, boy, did he open his mouth and boy, did he sing loud, and it was right at the concert.
is that right?
It is, and
Yeah.
it was just, it's beautiful. But, you stick around long enough, you start to see these kids just totally change. Just totally change and become comfortable in their skin and ask questions and get curious. And all of those things come directly from being in a space where they are heard, where they are listened to, where they are in a collaborative environment with adults, which is not really what our education system is, right, in a way. And so because of all of that, you just start to see these students gain so much more than learning how to sing right notes and rhythms.
Yeah.
And while that's the vessel, it's important, it's what we
Right,
do.
right.
It's not the end all be
So
all.
who are your teachers, Kirsten? Who are the folks that are teaching these kids these skills?
So all of our teachers are public school music educators.
Oh, they are?
That
Okay.
come for a day after school or 2 days after school,
Yeah.
and they teach in their after school classes.
see.
Many of them are here on the South Shore. We have music educators from Braintree, music educators from Quincy, or they have ties to the South Shore
Okay.
that bring them to this community or this philosophy. And they are just incredible human beings who we work together always to help each other. We get a tricky kid, we call them tricky kids, we get a tricky kid in the class, you can always find, we have a running joke in South Shore Children's Chorus where at any point at 2:30, 3 o'clock p.m. when everyone's in their commute home.
Yep.
You could call another South Shore Children's Chorus teacher, and they might already be on the phone with somebody else from South Shore Children's Chorus. And it really became not just a way for music teachers to be able to teach freely with a philosophy they believe in, but also a professional development network to connect with teachers that are also very high quality, very caring people, and who do it the same way and have the same values.
Interesting, yeah. You know, you said a little while ago that the South Shore needs a South Shore Children's Chorus like this. Why? Why do you think it's important?
I think it's important because as schools are devaluing music programs, I think it's imperative that students have access to that outside of school. And also, it's not even devaluing music programs, but nowadays there's so much pressure on students for pre-college classes.
Yes, yeah.
And sometimes that can limit their time, it can limit their experience. And even beyond that, when you're at school, you're only within those kids who go to your school. I have students I work with the 7th through 12th graders.
Okay.
I have students in my school who go to the vocational technical schools
Sure.
that may or may not have any music outlets.
Right.
They are connecting with students from outside of their community. Last night at my Sunday night rehearsal, I had students from 25 different towns.
Is that right? Well,
In one room, in the basement of Quincy Point Congregational Church.
Yeah.
And so we're bringing them here, and we're bringing them together, and it's tying the vastly different communities of the South Shore that are right next to each other together.
Well, sure. I mean, Quincy's, more urban, Bridgewater's more rural, so those kids have different backgrounds that they can share with each other, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not only are you audition free, but you don't let finances stand in the way either, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We've never turned a child away for an inability to pay for our program, pay
Yeah.
our tuition, and that's super important to me. I have experiences in my story in me growing up where my grandfather passed away unexpectedly when I was a teen, and he didn't have life insurance, so my mom had to do all of that and put it on her credit cards, and that doesn't show up in an IRS statement.
Right. Yeah.
Numbers don't tell the whole story. Numbers are not a person. An IRS form does not explain who people are as a story. So because of that, and I'm really, really passionate about offering tuition assistance to anyone who applies, no questions asked. We don't ask for tax forms for proof. We trust that if people need help, that they will ask for it.
Yeah.
And if you ask for help here at South Shore Children's Chorus, you'll receive it.
Wow.
And what we've seen from that is just, again, beautiful stories of families having a tricky year and applying for tuition assistance so their student can stay through the program, and maybe the next year they're donating back a summer scholarship for another child.
Okay.
And so this is what you do when you create community and you trust that humans, we are working together as what community is, giving and receiving in a cycle.
Now, do you have public performances, Kirsten?
We sure do.
For the public to see? Yeah, okay.
We do a winter concert in January and a spring concert in May.
Okay.
Those are held at the Maria Chapman Middle School in Weymouth.
Oh, sure. Yep.
In January, we had 740 audience members
great.
attend our winter concert.
Wow.
And then, so for our spring concert on May 10th, we'll actually be doing 2 different shows. So stay tuned for information about that.
Okay. All right.
That'll get announced pretty shortly. And then we also have a summer program that we hold at Massasoit Community College in Brockton, and a brand new summer program for rising 1st through 3rd graders, which I'm super excited about, called the South Shore Music and Arts Sampler. It'll be held at Elements Academy, which is the old Manatequit Kindergarten Center in Braintree.
Oh.
And that program is bringing together 4 top-notch arts organizations in the South Shore: South Shore Children's Chorus, Company Theater, Jesse Stiglitz Music School, and Sing, Explore, Create. And students will actually sample each organization throughout the week, so that way they can find which community arts organization fits for them.
I see. Okay.
So it's going to be a phenomenal program that's going to be in August 11th through 15th, and all of this information is available on our website.
On the website. Okay. But coming up very soon is your South Shore Children's Chorus first annual Evening of Impact.
Yes.
Friday, March 14th, 6 to 10 at the Woodward School. Not only will there be great music, food, auction, raffles,
Yes.
and fun for all.
Fun for all, fun for all, and you know, it's a great way too if you're looking for a way to give back
Yes.
to the arts community and something that is giving our next generation so much life, leadership, and confidence skills. This is the place to do it.
Kirsten, it's great to learn about the chorus and great to meet you. Would you please come back and let our audience know how it's going?
Anytime, Joe. You let me know.
Will do. Thanks
Thanks
again.
so much.
You're very welcome. Just enough time to check the forecast for you. You're going to love that. For the rest of the day today, a mix of sun and clouds, temperatures in the low to mid 40s this afternoon, upper 30s tonight. A little warmer tomorrow, believe it or not. Might crack the 50-degree mark for the first time in a long time. Nice here on Wednesday and some spring-like showers on Thursday with highs in the low 50s. Thanks again to Kirsten Oberoi for joining us from the South Shore Children's Chorus.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching Friday here on the show. Albina stopping by from the Quincy Quarry and Granite Workers Museum. Meantime, check our website. It's qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news, information, video on demand, live streaming, and much more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.